Marcus and I had known each other for 12 years and been in love for 6. Throughout those 6 years, I quietly leveraged my family's influence to support his company, helping it get on its feet. Just days before the company was set to go public, he proposed to me, promising to make me the happiest woman in the world. But by chance, I saw a conversation between him and Ben on his computer. I can't forget Chloe. Marrying is just a duty. After seeing those messages, I immediately told Mom to halt all investments in his company. Mom, sell off all the shares in Marcus's company, and withdraw those investments too. Marcus's company was about to go public, and if Mom withdrew the investments now, his company would face a massive crisis. Did that guy hurt you? Mom will help you get justice. Mom had always doted on me, and now, without even asking why, she was ready to confront Marcus. I gave a bitter smile. Mom, I'll handle this myself. My voice trembled slightly to keep Mom from worrying. I quickly hung up, but my eyes remained fixed on the computer screen, the chat history chilling me to the bone. Marcus and I weren't childhood sweethearts in the traditional sense, but we met during our freshman year of high school. My parents' marriage wasn't happy. In 8th grade, my dad's mistress brought her illegitimate child into our home, and my dad pressured Mom to divorce him for their sake. Mom, furious, divorced him and moved to Coastline City, leaving me feeling like an outcast in our home. That year, my life was a mess. I felt unloved by the whole world, and at school, Chloe even led the bullying against me. It was Marcus who then shielded me, confronting those who bullied me. Even after learning about my chaotic family situation, he would embrace me with tender sympathy. He told me not to be afraid, that even if no one else was kind to me, he would be. On that snowy night, he found me trapped for hours in the school gym's equipment room, then carried me home on his back. As he carried me, I heard him say firmly, "Violet, even if the whole world gives up on you, I won't." We went from high school to college together. In our 3rd year, he declared his love to me with a ring he bought with his first earnings. By then, I had left the Gu family and returned to Mom's side. "Violet, will you be my girlfriend?" I was overjoyed and overwhelmed. Later, when his company ran into trouble, I begged Mom to invest in it and provide resources, which helped the company get back on track. 3 years later, the company was finally nearing its IPO. On the day the IPO was approved, he proposed to me. I thought we would finally make it to the end, but I never imagined he didn't love me. His heart had already gone to someone else, and that person was none other than Chloe, the one who had destroyed my family and bullied me. Today, Marcus had gone out for a business dinner, leaving in such a rush that he forgot to log out of WhatsApp on his computer again. I saw his chat history with Chloe. "Violet is just my stand-in. Are you really going to marry her?" Marcus didn't reply, but she continued to type, and even through the screen, I could feel her absolute certainty. "Even if you don't say it, I can guess. You just want to spite me, to force me to show up, don't you? I saw your engagement photos. The wedding ring on her hand is exactly what I like, and even her dress is to my taste. The one you truly love, from beginning to end, has always been me." An hour later, Marcus finally replied to her, "Are you enjoying this? Knowing I still love you." Tears blurred my vision, and my fingers dug painfully into my palm. It turned out that our 6 years together were nothing but my own wishful thinking. He knew Chloe was the one who had hurt me the most, yet he allowed himself to love her. I contacted Mom, telling her I had decided to leave Northwood City for Coastline City. Half an hour later, Mom sent me a plane ticket for 2 weeks later, telling me it was time to say goodbye to the past. No sooner had I hung up than my phone rang again. "Violet, hurry. Marcus is fighting with someone." Faintly, I could hear Marcus's drunken roar over the phone. "You bunch of jerks. You owe my girlfriend an apology." My heart clenched. I wasn't with him, so the girlfriend he spoke of clearly wasn't me. Curious about what had happened tonight, I put on my coat and walked to the shoe rack, only to find the scarf I'd given him lying quietly on the floor, with distinct footprints on it. It had taken me over 10 days to knit that scarf, pricking my fingers countless times, yet he treated it with such disregard. I picked up the scarf, expressionlessly tossed it into the trash, then hailed a cab directly to the bar where Marcus was fighting. Once there, I saw Marcus holding a girl who was crying her eyes out. It was none other than Chloe. Those guys accidentally spilled a drink on Marcus's friend, and Marcus started fighting with them. Ben rushed over to explain to me, "Marcus drank a lot today. I was worried he'd get into trouble." Hearing that, I gave a bitter smile. I remembered a time I accompanied him to a business dinner when a client deliberately spilled a drink on my face. He wasn't nearly as angry then. In fact, he blamed me for the failed deal. Marcus tried to charge at them again, but Ben quickly stopped him. Marcus, you're about to get married. Don't make a scene. But shoved Ben away. Who said I'm getting married? This jerk spilled a drink on my girlfriend. Is that just supposed to be okay? If they don't apologize, no one's leaving. Marcus was so drunk he could barely stand, and his words made his friends extremely awkward, all of them looking at me. I let out a cold laugh, stepped forward, and slapped the man confronting Marcus across the face. Silence immediately fell over the bar. The man was stunned for a moment, then lunged at me in a rage. I wanted to see if Marcus would protect me as he used to, but he shoved me aside, roaring, "Violet, what are you doing here making things worse? Isn't it messy enough? You're useless and only cause trouble." Marcus's words chilled me to the bone. He self-righteously told the other party to leave quickly. The other party was relatively rational. They cursed a bit and then left. After they left, Marcus collapsed onto the sofa. Ben awkwardly introduced me. "Violet, don't take it to heart. Marcus had too much to drink. This is Chloe, his college classmate who just got back from overseas today." I glanced briefly at Chloe. Crystalline tears still clung to the corners of her eyes, making her appear delicate and pitiful. "Chloe, this is Marcus's fiancée, Violet." I gave a cold laugh, looking at Chloe. "No need for introductions. I know her very well." Ben was curious about my relationship with Chloe, but Marcus interrupted, seemingly having regained some sobriety. "Violet, I just happened to run into Chloe today. She was being harassed by those thugs, and no matter what, she's still your sister, after all." Marcus's words were full of protectiveness towards Chloe. The man who was usually so taciturn was now speaking effusively. I gazed at the man before me, an indescribable sense of unfamiliarity rising in my heart. I was the fiancée who had stood by him through the storms of entrepreneurship. Why then had I ultimately become a mere substitute in his heart? I bit down hard, trying to keep the tears from falling, and took a deep breath. I wasn't going to humor Chloe anymore. "Marcus, you're wrong. I don't have a sister. My mom and dad only had me. She's just the mistress's illegitimate child, a shameless one at that. Her mom is a mistress. And so is she." My words seemed to strike a raw nerve in Marcus, and he erupted in anger. "Violet, how can you say such venomous things to Chloe? You must apologize to her." His tone was uncompromising and rigid. "No wonder you were abandoned by your birth parents as a child. No wonder everyone distances themselves from you. Your bitter, caustic demeanor truly disgusts me. You're destined to die alone." His words, like a sharp knife, stabbed deeply into my heart, as if afraid I would harm Chloe. Marcus abruptly pushed me aside, firmly shielding her. Seeing this, Ben frowned, helped me to my feet, and uncharacteristically snapped at Marcus. "Marcus, you've gone too far." I turned my head, avoiding his gaze, but my eyes welled up involuntarily. A flicker of tremor crossed Marcus's eyes, perhaps realizing the impropriety of his words, or perhaps noticing my injured feet. He sighed softly. "Tonight, I'll consider it drunken talk. As for the future, there won't be a future." I interrupted softly. "What did you say?" He pressed. However, Marcus's question remained unanswered as Chloe suddenly cried and ran off, interrupting him. He had no time to ponder his question and quickly ran after her. In his haste, he didn't even notice the necklace falling from his pocket. I picked up the necklace from the ground and saw the small rose pendant with a Y engraved on its back. Marcus's rose tattoo on his left chest flashed in my mind. All the details I had overlooked now threaded together like a string. The Y wasn't for Violet's U after all, but for Chloe's Yan. His rose tattoo wasn't merely because he liked the design. It was because Chloe was the rose blossoming in his heart. It turned out that those so-called 6 years of love were nothing but a solo performance from me. If that was the case, why should I continue to bother with someone undeserving? Ben offered to drive me home, but I waved him off. I put the pendant back into my bag, hastily wiped away my tears, and walked out. On the way home, I couldn't hold back, and the tears still flowed. To think we had been in love for 6 years, known each other for 12, yet this was the outcome. I returned home to find the wedding countdown sign in the living room now served as a countdown to my departure. I gave a bitter smile, discarding all wedding decorations and couples' belongings in our apartment one by one, since fate had decreed it. I would use these last 2 weeks to make a complete farewell to my past. In the morning, Marcus's call woke me from my sleep. "Violet, are you awake? I bought you your favorite pan-fried buns and had my assistant deliver them, but the company has an urgent matter today, so I might not be able to come back. We'll reschedule the wedding photos. Don't take last night's incident too seriously. I've already apologized to Chloe on your behalf. I watched the sparrows perched on the branches outside the window, a chill rising in my heart. Got it. Marcus seemed not to have expected me to agree so readily, and he added, slightly embarrassed, a wedding is just a formality anyway. Our relationship is so strong. We don't need anything to prove it. Keep it simple, right? You decide. Marcus on the other end was rendered speechless by my cold tone. After a long pause, he gave an awkward chuckle, told me to remember to eat on time, and quickly hung up. Keep it simple. This wedding would have no marriage license, no sweet wedding photos, no blessings from a celebrant. It didn't matter, as there wouldn't be a bride present anyway. After hanging up, I picked up a marker pen and lightly crossed out wedding photo shoot on the calendar. Marcus was always busy with work, rarely having time to spend with me, so I had listed all the things I wanted to do on the calendar, hoping to fulfill these wishes one by one during the special period of our marriage now. However, these wishes were all covered by a thick black marker, turning into unspeakable regrets. I no longer placed my emotions on Marcus, instead preparing my resignation letter. In the following days, I contacted my friends one by one to inform them that the wedding was canceled. Honestly, we already suspected. My friend said as she opened Marcus's social media feed to show me, Marcus has been with Chloe all this time. People who don't know him well might think the person in his social media feed is you, but we recognized her instantly. My presence had never appeared on Marcus's social media feed, yet now, it was full of Chloe's back profile. They laughed together at amusement parks, drank by the sea, waiting for sunrises. His love for Chloe was so open, so overt, yet he had deliberately excluded me from his world. My friend looked at me with a touch of worry. Violet, don't be too sad. Chloe doesn't hold a candle to you. If knew Chloe's true colors, he'd definitely regret it deeply. It doesn't matter anymore. I stopped caring a long time ago. I put down my coffee and turned to look out at the bustling street. In my heart, I knew I would be leaving this place forever in a few days. I had no spare time or energy to grieve over Marcus's betrayal. I stood outside the coffee shop, watching Marcus and Chloe walk hand in hand into the bridal boutique across the street, and dialed Mom's number. Mom, let's tell Marcus about the investment withdrawal on his wedding day. It was time to put an end to everything related to Marcus. 6 years of deep affection did leave me with a sense of unwillingness to accept defeat, but perhaps these 12 years were the most precious time of my life, taking up my entire youth. I had to take responsibility for my own blindness and naivety. One-sided devotion always comes with a heavy price, however. I had to let it all go and restart my life. So when Marcus, who hadn't been home for days, suddenly appeared, I remained expressionless and unmoved. After he returned, his fingers quickly scrolled on his phone screen as he casually looked around. Why is the house so deserted? Didn't you decorate? Didn't you say to keep it simple? I calmly looked up at him from my tablet. Marcus was momentarily speechless, his gaze falling on the number 7 on the countdown display on the wall. Time flies. Our wedding is in just 1 week. I put down the tablet, walked to the dining table, tore off 2 pages from the calendar, crumpled them up, and threw them into the trash. You misremembered. It's not 1 week, it's 5 days. He smiled awkwardly, then changed the subject. Just then, Mom's call came in, and I went to the balcony to chat briefly. When I returned to the room, Marcus was still staring at his phone. He looked up at me. What's up? I think I heard something about a plane ticket. Nothing, just a client coming from Coastline City. A small issue with the plane ticket. I replied dismissively, all right, just make sure you don't plan any honeymoon trips. I'm too busy lately. I won't have time. I watched Marcus, casually scrolling on his phone with his legs crossed, then turned and closed the balcony door. I know, I haven't planned anything, and I'm busy too. Ever since Chloe returned, Marcus's gaze had been fixated on her. Sensing the awkward atmosphere, I took out the necklace with the rose pendant from the drawer of the entertainment stand and handed it to Marcus. His previously calm eyes instantly lit up. So it was with you. I've been looking for it for ages. Yes. I saw your high-price lost item notice on your social media feed and suddenly remembered I picked it up on the road that day. 1 million, just to find an old-fashioned, cheap necklace. And our upcoming wedding would only cost a total of 200,000. I watched Marcus's hands as he fiddled with the necklace and abruptly asked, "Where's your wedding ring?" He paused, then looked down at his bare finger, appearing somewhat bewildered. "I don't know when I lost it." He tried to explain, but then his phone chimed with a new message notification, Chloe's unique ringtone. He glanced at the message quickly, then stood up and lightly kissed the corner of my mouth. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. I've been incredibly busy lately. I'm counting on you to handle all the wedding arrangements." His words carried a hint of apology. "Once this busy period is over, I promise I'll make you the happiest Mrs. Z in the world." Marcus had suddenly become skilled at sweet nothings. In the past, I might have been overjoyed, thinking I had finally melted that indifferent iceberg now. However, I simply watched his retreating back with indifference, then went to the bathroom to brush my teeth and wash my face, continuing with my own tasks, completely unmoved by his declarations of love. Time flew by, and suddenly it was the day before the wedding. I looked at the things I had packed and organized myself, called the shipping company to pick them up, and sent all my large boxes to the coastline city address. As for the rest, I threw away everything that needed to be discarded. Once everything was sorted, I suddenly wanted to watch the sunset from the mountains, so I just drove there. In the early hours, I drove alone to the beach, wrapped in a thick blanket. I sat on the grass, feeling the mountain breeze, and watched the sun slowly set. I raised the coffee cup in my hand and clinked it towards the sunset glow. Here's to my 6 years of utter chaos. Here's to me, acting like an idiot, being a stand-in for years. Here's to loving a rotten person. It wasn't until the last of the sunset disappeared that I patted my pants, stood up, and once in the car, refreshed my social media feed. It was a photo sent by Chloe. A large family was having a reunion dinner, and Marcus was sitting beside her. I replied with a smiling message, "Looking good, huh?" Then I turned off my phone and headed home. Back at my apartment, I began a final inventory of my luggage. Busy until the early hours of the morning, I unexpectedly stumbled upon Marcus's diary. The diary meticulously detailed how he met Chloe in Seaview during a trip when he was at his lowest point years ago. However, the most crucial part had been torn out, leaving only the sentence, "That was the happiest time of my life." I flipped through one diary after another, finding that each one expressed his deep longing for Chloe. On the very day he proposed to me, his diary read, "Once, foolish and naive, I mistook a fisheye for a pearl, missing the only true love of my life. No matter how hard I try, I can never turn Violet into Chloe. The past cannot be undone. For sake, I will treat Violet well." His handwriting was strong and forceful, each stroke etched onto my heart. Tears streamed from my eyes, blurring the words in the diary. I looked up, seeing the dazzling array of gifts Marcus had given me over the years, from designer bags, high-end dresses, and jewelry, to small dolls, bubble tea, and gaming consoles. Every single one conveyed the same message. These were all things Chloe adored. Then I looked at myself in the mirror, wearing a floral print maxi dress, with long, straight black hair reaching my waist. I was practically Chloe's clone. I had always believed that after 12 years together, there would be some unbreakable bond between us. Yet, he had personally witnessed the harm Chloe had inflicted on me over the years, yet he still chose to side with her. He knew full well that Chloe was the person I hated and loathed most in this life, yet he was still determined to mold me into her shadow. A mix of grievance and rage surged within me. I changed out of the dress, put on my favorite hoodie and jeans, and then, looking into the mirror, I cut off the long hair I had kept for so many years. I couldn't continue to be Chloe's shadow anymore. Violet was just Violet. As I settled into my first-class seat, I received a call from Marcus. His tone was anxious, and if I listened closely, I could even hear a slight catch in his voice. "Violet, where did you go?" I ignored him, hung up directly, and turned off my phone. Then I leaned back in the seat, letting my exhausted body sink into a deep sleep. Perhaps it was because I had endured too many hardships and too much exhaustion lately, but a long overdue peaceful slumber quietly came upon me at tens of thousands of feet in the air. By the time I landed, it was already dark. The moment I turned it on, my phone nearly froze. Opening WhatsApp, I found my messages overflowing. With 99+ notifications, I frowned and clicked, finding all the messages from Marcus, without exception. They were all asking where I had gone and why the company's biggest shareholders and clients had suddenly pulled out. "Where are you? I'm coming to find you right now. I'm sorry, please come back, can we talk? I scoffed inwardly at his lengthy messages. Was he regretting things, or was he trying to find me because Mom had withdrawn the investments? It didn't matter anymore. I didn't reply to him. I simply deleted and blocked him in one swift motion. As I walked out of the airport, Mom was waiting for me, holding a bouquet of flowers. Years had passed, and she was no longer the mournful figure silently waiting for my father to return on the sofa, but had become more elegant and radiant. Vi, you've grown up. Mom caressed my face, repeatedly expressing her apologies. I hugged her tightly, tears welling in my eyes. Mom, I never blamed you, I whispered. You taught me to love myself before loving others. Mom, 20 years ago, and I, 20 years later, had both made the same choice. Mom gently wiped away the tears on my face, but her own eyes misted over first. Vi, Marcus has been calling me. Mom said gently, whatever choice you make, Mom will support you wholeheartedly. Before I could speak, a new call notification rang urgently. Violet? Marcus's voice held a complex mix of relief and tremor, a tension and anxiety I had never heard from him before. A wave of confusion washed over me. Now that Chloe was back, why would he still care so much about me, his supposed stand-in? Violet, did you read my diary? None of that is true. His tone was full of urgency. Chloe and I have nothing going on. She's just my sister. You must be very upset. I saw the tear stains you left on the diary. I admit I neglected you during this time, but I never meant to hurt you. His voice was filled with self-reproach. I felt a bit disoriented, as if I were in an unreal dream. Marcus, I know you married me out of a sense of duty, so I choose to leave, to make way for you and Chloe. I tried to make my voice sound calm and firm. What more are you unsatisfied with? Why are you crying? In his diary, Chloe was a ray of light in his darkest days, the most brilliant stroke of his life. But he had completely forgotten the immense effort I put in during that time to help him get back on his feet, while he was enjoying his time with Chloe. I used all my savings to help him cover his losses. I tirelessly sought out collaborations, even humbling myself to beg for help. I even attended business dinners and drank on his behalf until my health collapsed, and I even lost our child. But he remembered none of this. In his heart, there was only the beauty and infatuation Chloe had brought him during those brief 3 months. He tattooed Chloe's name on his chest, yet lied to me, saying it was just because he liked the design. In truth, his heart only held the vibrant Chloe. Now, he had finally found his so-called true love. So why then was he starting to think of me? I know, Violet, you ran away from the wedding to get revenge on me, didn't you? I know you care about me, that I'm the one you love most. You must be mad at me for neglecting you recently. It's okay, Violet, I don't blame you. No matter what you do, I'll forgive you. I took a deep breath, finding his words utterly ridiculous. Marcus, don't flatter yourself. Take a long hard look at yourself. What about a rotten cabbage like you is worth my love or lingering affection? With that, I hung up and blacklisted his number 2. Looking up at Mom, I forced a smile, but tears involuntarily slid down my cheeks. These tears were neither purely joyful nor purely sad, but contained a complex, unspeakable mix of emotions. Mom gently patted my shoulder, comforting me softly. It's all in the past, sweetheart. Mom will throw a welcoming party for you, and we'll embrace a brand new life together. Mom had prepared a very special welcoming ceremony for me, arranging everything several days in advance. She took me to get a new haircut, dyed my hair pink, and bought me a new set of clothes. I had already thrown those old floral print maxi dresses into the trash. Just like Marcus and our love, they were a thing of the past. Next, Mom took me to the liveliest bar in Coastline City. There, the music was deafening, and the alcohol content was high, as if it could sweep away all worries from the heart. I was happy in Coastline City, no longer needing to dwell on the past. Mom knew I had excellent grades in school, so she arranged for me to join her company and appointed me as the new design. With my team, I rushed to create the most anticipated jewelry collection of recent years before the autumn-winter fashion show. The affluent clients in Coastline City were spending lavishly on this jewelry collection. Everyone wanted a complete set. Mom's company's market value soared as a result. After everything had stabilized, I never expected Marcus to find me again. Then again, besides Coastline City, there was nowhere else I would go. Not long ago, I saw Chloe posting on her social media feed about her official promotion at Marcus's company, her words brimming with triumph, like a triumphant peacock. I thought they were already together, but just then, a man, soaked and looking rather disheveled, stood at my doorstep. "Violet, give me a chance, can we talk?" he said. My first instinct was to refuse and push him out the door, but he was strong and forced his way in. I sighed, looking at him coldly. "What do you want to say?" His face was pale, and he looked exhausted. "Violet, come home with me. I'll explain everything to our parents and relatives and friends. No one will blame you. As for the company's investment withdrawal, I won't blame you either. I'll find new investors, as long as you're willing to come back. I'll forgive you for running away from the wedding. I'll arrange everything for you, and we'll start anew," he vowed earnestly. "I swear, I'll treat you well and never let you down or hurt you again. After all these years, give me one more chance. Come back with me, please." His voice was hoarse, and his eyes were red-rimmed. He held me tightly, his face full of sorrow. His shamelessness made me laugh, and I looked at him with a cold expression. "Marcus, what makes you think I need your forgiveness? And what makes you think I'd ever go back with you?" "Marcus, there's no future for us. My feelings for you vanished a long time ago," I said calmly, feeling as though a great weight had been lifted. "I won't forgive you, but I wish you and Chloe happiness. Go back. Whether you're with Chloe or someone else, that's your business. My life has moved on. Please, don't bother me anymore." Marcus wasn't ready to give up that easily. He resolutely gave up his company in Northwood City, ignored everyone's advice, and was determined to stay by my side. As a result, Chloe followed him here. She angrily sought me out, accusing me. "Violet, you really are something, using running away from your wedding to get his attention. Don't think you've won. I'll always find a way to get him back." I looked calmly at Chloe. She had taken my dad, ruined my happy life, and stolen all my friends and loved ones. Everything I used to cherish and like, she would snatch away, whether she liked it or not. Before, I hated Chloe and her mistress mother with a passion, but now, I just feel terribly sorry for them. In their world, there was no love, only endless conflict. They treated all women as enemies, and unreliable men as trophies of victory. They forgot that outside of those men, there was a more exciting world. "Whatever, you'd better get him back to Northwood City quickly. I'm honestly sick of Marcus buzzing around me like a fly all day." Chloe froze, then threw the missing pages from the diary at me. "What do you have to be so smug about? He loves me," she said triumphantly, recounting her past with Marcus. The moments I had always yearned for were, to her, nothing more than ordinary occurrences. Marcus was always very serious in front of others, but with her, he completely let loose, showing his true self. I couldn't be bothered to read what was written on those pages, the idealized love. It was all just desire at play. Marcus loved only himself. I turned around, surprised to find Marcus standing behind me. He looked much more haggard, no longer neatly dressed as before. His hair was disheveled, his eyes bloodshot, and his clothes wrinkled. He suddenly lunged at Chloe and slapped her hard. "Shut up," he yelled angrily. "I won't let you sow discord between Violet and me. I've looked into everything, and you don't love me at all. You were just toying with me, trying to hurt Violet. Back in Seaview, your so-called work study was all fake. You ran off with a poor painter and came back only when you couldn't endure the hardship. You've been lying to me all along. It's your fault I lost Violet. She's the best person in the world, the one who loves me most." Chloe covered her face in disbelief, her eyes wide with shock. Marcus then turned and stared intensely at me. "Violet, you knew what kind of person she was. So why didn't you tell me? Why did you stand by and watch her deceive me?" I looked at him and suddenly burst out laughing. "Marcus, lay your hand on what little conscience you have left and ask yourself, if I had told you back then, would you have believed me? You would only have thought I was slandering your idealized love. We've known each other for 12 years, from freshman year of high school until now. How on earth could you forget how Chloe treated me back then? Who was it who caused me to be carried out of the school gym's equipment room on your back during that heavy snowstorm? Stop rationalizing your own actions. You enjoyed sleeping with her, and now you're blaming everything on her alone. Marcus, you really are a complete and utter jerk driven purely by impulse." Anyway, after that, Marcus was silent for a long time, and knowing she was in the wrong, stopped acting so arrogant and overbearing around me. A major issue arose with the supplier in Northwood City. The raw materials were substandard, making the resulting jewelry completely unsellable. Mom and I immediately flew back to Northwood City to meet with her business partner who was liaising with Teen Shang. I asked, flipping through documents with a frown, How could such a basic error happen? It was their newly appointed business manager, Chloe, came the reply. No sooner had the words been spoken than Marcus and Chloe walked in. Hearing's name, I wasn't surprised at all, seeing their hands intertwined. I let out a scoff. Mom frowned the moment she saw Chloe. Has lost his mind? Letting an idiot like her be the business manager? I just shrugged with a smile. It must be the power of love, I thought, as the client. Mom's partner was already fuming and immediately launched into a furious tirade. Chloe just played the victim and couldn't offer any useful solutions. Marcus, gritting his teeth, had to offer an apology himself. For him, this was certainly a rare experience. Mom snapped her file shut and slammed it onto the table with a crisp thud. Marcus, do you think an apology will solve this? You've severely breached the contract, causing us losses of at least $100 million. Expect a lawsuit. Only then did Marcus and Chloe notice us. Perhaps seeing them in such a groveling state, Marcus's face turned ashen. He glared at us, saying menacingly, Violet, our raw materials have never had issues. You're deliberately trying to pick a fight. I'll expose you. I'll let everyone know how unprofessional Sen's CEO and director are. I suddenly burst out laughing. You think too highly of yourself, Marcus? Do you really think we still take Tiansheng seriously? As for why Tiansheng's raw materials had defects, you should ask your mistress. I tossed the third-party inspection report at them, telling them to open their eyes and see clearly. Marcus picked up the report, his anger growing. It clearly stated that the raw materials specified in our contract were completely different from the defective products they had delivered. The only person capable of doing something like this was Chloe. She had deliberately done it to make more money and get kickbacks. We didn't bother wasting any more breath. We simply instructed our legal team to gather evidence and prepare to file a lawsuit. Then we left. We hadn't gone far when we heard crashing and banging from the office. I looked back to see chairs and tables overturned and smashed, with Chloe on the floor, clutching her head. A week later, I heard that Marcus had fired Chloe. Marcus had originally hoped to give Tiansheng another boost with this large Sen deal, but because Tiansheng had to pay a significant compensation, it eventually declared bankruptcy liquidation. Seeing the news that all of Tiansheng's fixed assets were being auctioned off, I felt a strange pang. This was probably watching him build an empire only to see it crumble. Even after his bankruptcy, Marcus, for some reason, still wouldn't let me go. He came to Seaview, and every day he would wait downstairs at the company, trying to see me. No matter how much I tried to drive him away, he wouldn't leave. Eventually, I just called the police, and Marcus was taken in. Within a couple of days, Marcus's family arrived in Coastline City. They started with pleas, then quickly turned to curses. They cursed me for being wild and breaking off the engagement, for being cold and heartless, and for sending my former lover to jail. It was then that Marcus, who had remained silent, finally spoke. Everything is my fault. It has nothing to do with Violet. I brought this upon myself. I was too greedy, and I didn't cherish what I had. I regret it. I truly regret it. Violet, I don't expect your forgiveness. I only hope you'll remember me. After much negotiation, Marcus eventually paid the compensation and signed a written agreement, then left Coastline City. As we parted ways, he asked me, will we ever see each other again? I answered firmly, no. At my reply, he burst into tears in front of everyone, utterly helpless, like a lost child. He mumbled to himself, why did it turn out like this? Violet, you were by my side for so long. I thought you'd never leave me, that you'd forgive me no matter what I did. I never thought you'd leave, let alone that I'd lose you forever. After you left, I finally understood that everything had changed. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just couldn't resist the temptation. When I came to my senses, I knew I wouldn't choose Chloe, but I was also reluctant to give up her uninhibited nature, so I tried to mold you into her image. I thought that way I could have both of you, but I forgot. He forgot that there was only one Violet in this world, unique in every way, good or bad. My eyes wouldn't tolerate any impurity. Much less would I be willing to become someone else's substitute. I took Mom's arm, ready to leave this painful place. Marcus was still rambling behind us. I saw the wish list you wrote on your calendar. Why, after all this time together, did we never even do those little things? Besides that one blurry photo, I can't even find a single picture of us together. 12 years of acquaintance, 6 years of a relationship. Looking back now, it's all regret. I was so foolish. I should have realized it sooner. I was blinded by desire. When I came here this time, I thought that even if I couldn't take you back, I could at least make up for some regrets. I never expected it to turn out like this. Violet, will you ever forgive me? Marcus's voice was filled with sorrow. I didn't answer, just kept walking forward. He knew my answer perfectly well. The sun was shining brightly, and I wouldn't stop for an unworthy past. I didn't answer, just kept moving forward. Whether to forgive or not, it no longer mattered. Violet's life was shining brightly. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any thoughts about this story, feel free to share them in the comment section.